Five more.
Yeah, only 5 more.
Yep. They're all going to Clint's home because they're all his girlfriends that he loves to snoo with. Welcome back. Beautiful and amazing human
like my ladies
beings.
jacked. Sorry, go ahead.
This is Luke Rudowski here of thebestpoliticalshow.com as we have a lot of absolutely crazy and insane news to get into today, as of course everyone keeps wondering what's going to be the next move from the Biden administration that even signaled it might be dropping out themselves, but after a campaign call, we definitely got the opposite news of that, as Ukraine also has just been announced to be too corrupt to join NATO, as there are new frontline wars unfolding there that are not looking good for the local population, as of course everyone still keeps asking what's going to be the future of international conflict as things are also gearing up in places like Lebanon. We're going to be talking about that plus a lot more all here for the next 2 hours, as we will ask you guys to please share this broadcast with your friends and family members in order to fight the algorithms, in order to fight the censorship, as of course that is as an independent media organization that's been around for 20 plus years. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't you guys actually getting the word out there. It really does mean a lot when you guys do that, and we are forever grateful to you guys helping us be here and be the independent media organization that we are. As of course you also get to be a part of today's show, and one easy way to do that is to sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com. When you do that, you get access to a Telegram channel, and then through that Telegram channel you could tell me right now you want to call in, and we will be going to you in about an hour and a half from now, as you will be able to ask whatever you want to us and our guests. Also, by the way, we're going to be giving out free Bitcoin conference tickets later on tomorrow for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. The people who comment first will be the ones who get free tickets. Tickets are like $550. They're like $600 with all the taxes and fees. $600 tickets giveaway. We're giving out, I think, 5 of them tomorrow just for members of LukeUnfiltered.com for the Bitcoin conference, as we will also tell you about mysuperchat.com, a way for you guys to super chat, where your super chat actually shows up on screen and only charges us a 3% service charge. YouTube charges 30, and this is a place that really is something that we prefer you guys check out, as we're going to be doing our best to read all of your super chats during this conversation. As of course we have a very interesting person joining us for this conversation. Shira, thank you so much for coming on down. For the people who don't know you, who are you and how would you introduce yourself?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm Ashira Solomon. I am the co-host of a show called The Quad.
And if you can't, just bring the microphone up a little bit.
Is this good?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, you can move it around a little bit so it's a little bit closer. There you go.
Oh,
Perfect.
Right there?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I
Loud
can
and
see
clear.
myself now. I am Ashira Solomon. I am the co-host of The Quad. It's a show based in Jerusalem. I'm also the host of a new show that I'm launching called The Black and Jewish Podcast.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you here. And it's definitely going to be a pretty interesting conversation because we have so many things to talk about. There's so much news coming from the Middle East. It's just absolutely crazy and very hard to keep track of. So we're going to probably have to have that conversation in an hour from now on another platform that is going to be more friendly to that conversation. Alex Hyde of Hack Miami is also here in the house. How are you, man?
The Jesus
Doing well.
is back.
Thank you for having me on, Mr. Luke.
For
Always
the
a pleasure.
For the people who don't know you, who are you?
My name is Alex Hyde. I'm the co-founder and president of the Hack Miami organization. We run a hacking conference in South Florida every week, and I can be found at Alex Hyde on Twitter.
Definitely a fascinating character that I've known for 20 plus years. Clint is here, and I think Clint wasn't sick. I think he was just dealing with having these strong girlfriends that were manhandling him.
I mean, if you saw their physiques, you can understand why I would end up in the hospital. It's tough, especially when you're dealing with dozens of them at the same time. It's brutal.
He's a busy man. I mean, those girls meant business.
They did.
They were tough ladies.
They did. I have a full-time job, and it's called CrossFit Women. Anyways, Clint Russell, host of Liberty Lockdown, co-host of Tower Gang, and co-host of The Best Political Show. I have a very special 4th of July gift for you guys, and that is my sit-down with the great Dr. Ron Paul. That will be out tomorrow, midday. So make sure you guys subscribe to Liberty Lockdown so you don't miss it. And I got Ian Carroll the following day. It's going to be a phenomenal lineup. Make sure you guys subscribe to Liberty Lockdown as well as the best political show on your favorite podcatcher so that you guys never miss an episode. At Liberty Lockpod on X if you want to follow me. There, I'd appreciate it. Liberty Lockdown Instagram.
I had to up your levels pretty high. I think if you twist the microphone this way and speak directly into it, you got it. You could figure it out. I believe in you. As of course, Steph will be helping. Don't disconnect it, but just keep it angled in a way where because this is what the people hear when you're speaking on top of it. I had to just boost your levels. We can't hear you as clearly as Steph is also in the house
Hi,
as well,
everyone.
who promised to talk extensively now. Right, Steph? You're
This
going to
is-
talhe all the time, right?
When I can fit it in, I will.
That's what
That's
Clint,
my-
that's
that's my
what Clint's
life
girlfriends say.
She made it funny.
Pause.
It's my life mantra, baby. Let's go.
Steph, we are changed, ready to push the buttons. Let's go.
All right, let's just get into it because there's so much happening in the news right now, specifically around Joe Biden, specifically around the questions of his future, if he's going to be the nominee, as we just saw the president announce that he is going to be licking the world. Yes, you heard that correctly. Here's a 6-second segment from the
also-
current president of the United States, something
Also
that Clint also does all
my
the time.
Life mantra. Yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
So thank you all. God bless you all. Let's go lick the world. Let's get it done.
Yeah, baby.
So thank
Yeah.
I'm back in. I like Biden. Let's go.
Wait, so what did he mean to say?
You know, like lick them, like an old timey boxer.
Oh, like hit him, get
Yeah.
a licking. Okay.
In 1930, that was common
exactly,
parlance.
exactly.
So for when he was a child, that was how they talked about boxers.
Very old timey lingo.
Yeah.
Bring the microphone up as
I
well.
honestly don't think it was
Very-
I don't think it was a misspeak. I think he actually meant that.
I think he did.
It's a double entendre.
Those, the people in the 1920s. That's how they talked. So it adds up, and it
Oh.
definitely makes sense there.
You get fresh with me, boy, I'll lick you.
Plus, the stuff he does in the shower with his daughter. Also, maybe I don't know if he was referring to that, but
lots of licking there, huh?
that yeah.
Oh, no. I don't want to think about that. Goodness.
The creepy old guy isn't doing too well. I have a unique take on this, but he just spoke. He abruptly left the room after he finished his remarks, and he didn't take any questions from the media like Donald Trump usually does, and he stormed off. Here's the clip of him storming off.
Mr. President! Mr. President!
Must go recharge batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't take any questions. Like he never speaks in coherent sentences.
Yes, and then anytime he does try to address the press, it's always a disaster, and you always see his handlers being like, "Let's get him out. Let's go. We got to go. I'm sorry, we can't do this." Trump, polar opposite, especially when he's
He
dealing with
rebels
the
at it.
press. He loves the attention. He loves talking to every single one person. I remember I was at a presidential debate many years ago when he was in attendance, and then when he was there, he made an effort to literally talk to every single reporter there.
He likes working the room.
Exactly. And that's something that's totally different than Joe Biden, who, again, also is less orange than he was just a few days ago when he did his special announcement about the Supreme Court, and everyone said that they literally painted him orange. He doesn't look as orange now. People are saying he is spry, but I think it's fair to say that there are still major serious questions remaining about the future of his political career, as the Daily Mail had a very interesting article earlier today describing how he himself, Joe Biden, was considering not running for the presidency this year, after there was a phone call with his campaign staff where he reassured everyone, yep, he is running. But the earlier articles were pretty surprising, as according to kind of anonymous sources within the White House, he himself was saying, maybe it's time to end it. Maybe it's time that we call it quits here, and
Maybe
after
it's
this
time
call.
to go to the nursing home.
Yes.
Finally.
And within the last 30 minutes, the news wires have been lit up with this very topic, saying the exact opposite. Oh, he never said that. Every single mainstream news source going after it, like it's complete denial mode. It became something. It's hitting off.
I think it's highly probable that he, in fact, did not say that. Anytime you get an unnamed source out of the White House that's dropping something, it's probably it's trying to catalyze action. It's trying to create the dynamic where the press then has to ask Biden. Biden has to constantly defend himself. Once you're in that defensive posture, it's very hard to expect to win the presidency. That everyone thinks, oh, you're not even up to the task for the next 5 months, much less another 4 years and 5 months. So I don't buy it personally that he said that.
It's the same anonymous aides and saying, "Oh no, he's running."
Right.
He's not saying nothing.
To your point of everyone thinks, but I also think he knows he cannot. Like he's not up to run. He cannot.
I don't know.
Or
about
maybe
that.
he's that gone where he doesn't realize where he's even at, which is a probability. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm riding with Biden. I got my Biden 2024 T-shirt on. I think Joe Biden is trying to save America. I think she's doing God's work. She's the hero that we all deserve. As of course, if they continue on their path, Donald Trump is going to be the president of the United States. It's pretty clear. And all the people kind of pointing fingers at them, especially the right wingers, I don't think they understand the beast that they're kind of going to be creating with someone who's going to be replacing him and becoming more of a formidable threat against Donald Trump in this country. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm riding with Biden personally. But I don't know who you guys are rooting for. But let's go Biden. 4 more years. We got this. Like, I believe in you. Be spry, please. Give him more drugs. Give him more drugs, please. Keep him going.
If we weren't in multiple proxy wars simultaneously, for the laughs, I'd kind of be on board with that, particularly given that I think the economic reset is going to happen in the next 4 years, and I'd rather it not happen, or I would prefer it happen under someone who I disagree with almost entirely politically. So that would be my preference. But because this is so dangerous, I do kind of feel like I want to see a changing the guard, to be honest.
Yeah, this was my kind of thinking, Ashira, here, because there might be a plan where the establishment wants Trump in office so they could do certain things or pull certain moves off. And I had 4 different strategies, kind of releasing my own kind of I was just kind of brainstorming. If I'm the establishment, what would I be doing? And if you're going to pull the rug on the dollar, if you're going to crash the economy, what better way to do it than under a Trump administration? So that's one of the scenarios that I laid out.
Blame Trump.
They could blame Trump, saying he spent a lot of money. And he did. Let's just be honest. He doesn't have the best fiscal record. And there's other scenarios, specifically when it comes to foreign policy, when it comes to domestic tensions civilly, and when it comes to bioweapons. There could be 4 scenarios that play out that would work in favor of the establishment if Donald Trump was in office. I released that video for members today, kind of, what's the proper word? Hypothesizing about the larger kind of potential of what could what could really be happening behind the scenes.
But don't you think if we had a Trump administration in terms of foreign policy, that for at least the Middle East and Israel, we would have, peace.
I would hope so.
Not lasting peace, but we wouldn't be in this war that we are in now in Israel.
Joe Biden represents World War III.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump is one of the few candidates that is actually saying he's going to end the wars.
That's a tough meme to shake.
Yes.
World War III candidate.
Yeah, he's literally the guy bringing us to full-on global war with Russia, war with countries like Iran. And, the situation really is an untenable one. And clearly he's not calling the shots. But I'm just being I'm being more facetious here, and I'm trying to think of all the strategies. I'm trying to think of all the inroads here. But I absolutely agree with you. Donald Trump is presenting himself as the anti-war candidate, and I think that's a key important issue that I'm fully behind, and I back, obviously. But if we want Trump to win, go Joe Biden. You got this, girl. Woman power. Biden, you got this, guy. Just keep moving ahead. Keep steamrolling, man. You got this. Keep going, man.
Nothing could go wrong.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
There's reports today that he takes a nap every single day and that he's only functional from he doesn't start his day until 11 a.m., which I respect because that's kind of how I live. And then he's done by 4 p.m. Yeah. So he's basically only functional 5 hours per day. I think that's perfect. I want the government to only function 5 hours a day.
I think it's less than that. I think he's functional 1 hour of the day. We've seen that he couldn't even. He was pooping in his pants on camera.
All these things kind of make me like
allegedly, according to the sources.
I'm sorry, allegedly.
All this makes me kind of like him more. Guys
I know, I
sleeps
know,
4
I know.
hours a day,
Yeah.
poops in his pants. I ain't even going to the restroom.
I despise this dude based off of his track record. I couldn't like him less. But I got to be honest, I really like the idea of the government only functioning 5 hours a day. That's the strongest selling point for Joe Biden I've heard.
I'm not really going to be there, but the deep state is, the bureaucratic state is.
I know, that's the
and they're
problem.
running the things.
I know.
And they're implementing the policies that he has no idea about that are extremely unpopular, that cause a lot of pain for the average American. And I think he's the perfect kind of vessel to push through some of the most unpopular policies that they would never be able to pass through any other presidency other than the Biden administration that still with a straight face is saying that he's fighting for democracy and he's working for the average Joe, when in reality everyone is dealing with the horror of the Build Back Better policies that have destroyed their lives and their financial future in this country. And I think, the writing's on the wall, and we have this article here from the New York Times that really does highlight that, as it reads that a group of business leaders are now calling for Biden to step down. As of course, it's these lobbyists, it's these special interest groups, it's a lot of the people with the purse, just like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. It's the people who have the money. It's the banksters. It's the technocrats that are calling the shots here. And they are even saying, Biden, your time is up.
This
Step
message
down.
is brought to you by the Democratic National Committee.
Yes.
I'm Michelle Obama, and I approve this message.
Well, now they're using Kamala Harris. So Kamala Harris was
okay.
in an advertisement by herself,
that actually
fundraising for the DNC, without,
was
of
quick.
course, Joe Biden there. That was earlier this morning. As Clint, you sent me this article here.
They're not trying to even hide the switch. They're just
no.
making it so blatant in our faces.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that there is a lot of uncertainty. But Clint, you sent me this this video here showing a Democratic mega donor that torched President Biden, saying that he's talking to a bunch of big donors. And again, Joe Biden has been able, as up until a couple days ago, to beat Donald Trump when it came to raising money. And there were a lot of special interest groups, a lot of big money donors that have coalesced around Joe Biden that are now leaving. As for the first time in a long time, Donald Trump was able to raise more money than Biden. And I think from here on out, anyone with big money understands that they're investing in someone that clearly is not going to win here.
I think the important thing for the audience to understand is that these donors are not really principled actors. They are most interested in backing a winning horse. They don't care if it's Donald Trump. They don't care if it's Joe Biden. They may have a slight additional affinity for Biden because they're Democrats, and when they go back to the cocktail party, they want to say, "Oh, I'm standing with the Democrats because I love, I'm not a fascist or whatever." But at the end of the day, what they really care about is having political favors that helps them in their corporate endeavors. So the fact that this guy is coming out publicly saying that he, being a mega donor, and all of these other mega donors are having these conversations about how they had been shipping $1 million checks to the Biden administration or the Biden re-election campaign, and now they're thinking to themselves, "We've been deceived. This is a dead end. This is just basically lighting money on fire." If they believe that and if they act on that, that is the death knell for the Biden
Yeah,
administration.
it used to be worth something because you would go to the Biden administration and say, "Hey, we're at Burisma Oil. We'll give your son a great job here. Oh, we have these, no bid government contracts, or we have this, scratch your back, I scratch your back kind of moment here." And throughout the Biden administration, they've been able to get whatever they want. But I think they see the window kind of closing in on them, and they're like, well, we got a lot out of him. We got anything we wanted. American, democracy is a farce. It's a joke. There's even mainline studies highlighting how it's the donor class that calls the shots, that implements the policies, and that many popular policies that the people want passed or need passed never get passed, except if it's a special interest group that finagles it in a way or words it in a way that they're able to, of course, get a piece of the pie and set up rules and regulations that work in favor for them and no one else.
And this is the only evidence you need to know that what I'm telling you is true, is look at the top campaign contributors to both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and then Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Just go down the line. You're going to see many of these same mega corporations that are donating to both sides. They do not care who wins. They just want to have favoritism.
And I want to agree with your point because I used to work in fundraising. And so we would go and we would look at where all the mega donors were donating to see how much they were donating, to see how much we could ask for. And I would be like, oh, wow, this person donated to both Trump and Clinton. And so this is when I started learning, like, oh, they donate to both campaigns. And so really you're so correct in saying like they're not principled whatsoever.
And then they're able to come to whoever wins the election,
hedging
and
their
then they're
bets.
like, "We gave you this much money. Now we need this policy or this law in the budget bill or in the NDAA, and we need this specific thing that helps us and our business, whether it's tax incentives or contracts or subsidies or funds, and that's the way that the world works, and it's a corrupted way because it leads the way for companies like Monsanto to do whatever they want to us.
It's
And again,
legalized.
Monsanto doesn't exist anymore. It's Bayer now. But I think that was one of the most egregious corporations out there that truly was able to buy off government in a horrible way and implement a lot of farming policies that have led to tremendous amounts of harm for the American people and their overall health.
and killing our soil, yeah.
Well, I think the important thing to remember, too, is that it was actually Donald Trump during the debates of 2016, 8 long years ago, where he was talking about, yeah, I know these people. I've bought both sides. I've been giving money to both sides of the duopoly forever. When he started saying stuff like that, that was when I started to actually think maybe this guy's a real deal outsider. Like that's definitely not something that you're supposed to be saying.
Yeah, that's something that the system doesn't want people to know.
They don't want to know that.
Yeah, they don't want to know that your government's for sale and it's being bought off, and it's being bought off in many different ways, underhanded ways, clear ways. Like the Bitcoin conference is offering, I think it's $500,000 in order to hang out and meet with Donald Trump, and that's a lot of money. But that not only gets you a meeting, that also shows Donald Trump that these people want deregulation, that these people want to, of course, have a more favorable kind of business practice with the government that isn't going to stifle innovation and all the incredible projects that the Bitcoin community is working on. So that's one way of showing Donald Trump and the candidacy, putting your money where your mouth is, giving him that much money and saying, hey, and that's how government works.
Is Biden even taking that offer at a Bitcoin conference? Is he
No.
even going to be there?
No.
We know who the crypto candidate is,
Exactly.
Well, he gets plenty of campaign contributions from Goldman Sachs and the old banking establishment. So
BlackRock, Lockheed Martin,
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Pfizer, and all these other kind of giants out there that are working for you.
yeah, and Trump's trying to angle himself to be in front of the cutting edge money, which is smart. It's what the Libertarian Party was attempting to do as well, so it makes perfect sense to me. By the way, quick story. From my sophomore to junior year of high school, I grew just the summer, I grew 7 inches. I went from 5'4" to 5'11". I grew a couple more inches after that. But in 3 months, I grew 7 inches. Because of that, my body was growing so fast, I had to sleep over 12 hours per day. So I think that Karine Jean-Pierre ought to come up with a defense saying Joe Biden is going through a growth spurt. It's a very late stage growth spurt, but he's just super tired because he's a growing boy. I think that's the best defense that they have for him. This is my gift to you, KJP. It's free. You can use it.
He's like a baby, literally.
He poops
Baby
himself.
Biden.
It's perfect.
This should be a moment
He
where
wears diapers.
this should be a moment where we should all be grateful for
He can
our
barely
age.
speak.
Yeah, he babbles.
Takes a nap every day.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any booby milk, but if there was a guy doing booby milk, it would be probably him and all the creepy stuff that he's been up to.
He goes to bed by sundown. I mean, this is perfect.
Sniffs people all the time.
Yeah.
Just like a dog.
He probably has to have his food pre-chewed too. So
Yeah,
like a-
Gerber food.
What a weird job that would be.
So
Being
oh
the
my
executive
goodness,
food chew guy.
this donation is
You want to
wild.
read it, Clint?
where's the donation?
It says Clint's sore pride hole.
Oh,
That is a My Super Chat that still hasn't officially come in. But Steph, do you want to read it?
Hola, amigos. Less than 200 followers until we get to see what will be one of the greatest moments in American history.
That's
my
right,
goodness.
Clint's sore pride hole. That's you're definitely correct. We have
People are out of your minds.
We have it right here, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be incredible, and it's going to be a moment that's going to bring all of America together and heal our divides. This is
That
going
was
to be an
emphasized.
incredible
That
moment.
sound made the dog weep.
Yeah, she doesn't
She
like that.
emphasized.
So, let's read the rest, Steph, while we're at it.
We also have Z Bigger News.
And that doesn't matter. Go ahead.
We've got Red Viking saying, "How can Clint handle all his hot girlfriends?" Strong emoji.
Yep.
It's tough, man. It's tough. But
do they throw you around a lot?
some of them toss me around. Some of them just eat like nonstop. It's a very expensive lifestyle.
I bet. Yeah, especially here in Miami, man.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
dude, the
that's
restaurants here, pricey, dude.
Read the Telegram ones. You're not on Telegram? What are you doing, Steph?
We have Salty Speech saying Luke is always right.
Yes, damn right. Never wrong. Keep
Put
going.
that on a shirt.
And I don't think it would sell.
Oh.
I think that's all we. I think that's all that we have for right now. Is of course we also have another New York Times article, as of course the mysuperchat.com is still up there with us, which we greatly appreciate. Thank you so much, Clint's sore pride hole. As we have this article from the New York Times also today, with Biden telling his allies he only has days to salvage candidacy. And the talking point here is that there's going to be a major interview that he's going to be doing with the corporate media, and he's going to be looking at this interview and how he performs and how he comes off to the American people as a key indicator if he should stay running for the presidency of the United States. Now, the interview is with the corporate media, and as we know, the Biden administration stages interviews all the time, to the point where they are literally giving questions and telling reporters not to stray away from the conversations that they only want them to have with the president of the United States. So
There's no way it'll be live. It's going to be tape delayed and totally crafted.
Oh, yeah.
And edit it.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask if it's live, is there a place we could place bets on this? But
Well, Predicted is placing a lot
Oh,
of
really?
bets
There's
right
actually-
now, as Kamala Harris now looks like the favorite under the Democratic
That's true.
political party to take the candidacy away from Joe Biden now, officially, with the
what's the
gambling
spread,
predictive
what's the spread
market.
on that? What's the spread?
23 cents. She went up 4 cents. Joe Biden went down 3 cents to the dollar, as of course this is the predicted to who will be the president-elect in this upcoming election.
Just-
and again,
I don't think
Kamala's
it's
going up
her.
there.
She's so boring and uninteresting, and she also babbles.
And the cackle. The cackle's brutal. But
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
the
The
cackle.
cackle's great. The
you could have
cackle's
made
awesome.
you could have made a crazy amount of money if you had bet on her just 2 weeks ago, just before the debate. I think she was only 2 cents, and now she's up to
Wait,
it,
this
23?
is real money? These are real bets?
Yes,
Yeah,
these
it's
are
a real
people-
thing. Yeah.
But this is the reason why they might be actually going with Kamala. It's because of the rules that are set up where all the big donor money won't be lost if it's still Kamala. So this is why a lot of people are saying, look, Kamala could be the person, should be the person. There's major op-eds written by Democratic Congress members now saying Kamala has to step up. This is Kamala's moment to cackle to the world and somehow be elected the next president of the United States. As of course, Newsweek has it here. Kamala Harris overtakes Joe Biden as favorite to be Democratic candidate in the larger, and they mentioned the predicted market and the other polls that are coming out right now highlighting how people are looking at her, and I think there's going to be no one that could compete with her unfavorability numbers.
I think there's no doubt that there's insider trading that's happening on this. I don't see how you get that level of a swing in the betting market if there aren't people with major money that are throwing money,
before
throwing
you
bets
have-
down because they know.
Yeah, before you had lobbyists, now you're dealing with like bookies and gamblers on this thing, on the whole political sphere.
And
too.
then, and let's be smart here. If you're the Democrats, you want to prolong this kind of guessing game so the Republicans don't know your strategy as long as you can. And that's an argument that actually Vivek Ramaswamy made earlier today. And he's saying that, quote, a lot of geniuses are coming out of the woodwork to predict that it won't be Biden. But that's been obvious for over a year. The real question is what's going to happen in the next 4 months. Follow the incentives. The later the Democrats make the switch, the more advantageous it actually is for them. Here's why. And he lays out all the specific points here. But when we have the Republican GOP convention in Milwaukee in just a few days from now that I will be attending, I'm going to be doing a special show there with Tim Pool. Donald Trump will have to pick his VP. And I think they're going to wait to announce who's going to replace Joe Biden after the RNC, so then Trump can't really pick a VP that could compete strategically against whoever the Democrats pick to be their kind of replacement candidate for Joe Biden. If you're the Democrats, this is the strategy to kind of move forward with and put the Republicans in a bind. And I think that's one of the reasons why Donald Trump hasn't announced his VP, mainly because he knows that the situation is still very uncertain. Because if they run Kamala Harris, or if they run Michelle Obama, he's going to have to counter with a woman as his VP in order to try to galvanize more of the woman vote. But if it's Gavin Newsom, he's going to have to try to, of course, strategically figure out someone else that does well against him and his larger ideas. So I think, everyone's saying he's going to be replaced. Tucker Carlson said yesterday it's obvious he is. But I think Vivek makes a very good point here saying, yeah, they're going to stretch this out as long as they can. And when they're going to make their move, it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a very decisive one. And it's going to be one that's going to be very hard to compete with.
Do you think it's going to be Gavin Newsom?
I think if the Democrats are able to get everything in line and if they're able to figure out a strategy that's going to work for them, the best strategy for them is Michelle Obama. And I mentioned that a couple days ago, and I did a special video just about her for members as well, because as the poll numbers that came out today highlight, she's the one that actually is polling favorably over Donald Trump than anyone else that could potentially take her place or be the next nominee. So
I think it's Kamala all the way. Just because if they can't find a way around the rules to exchange the war chest, which is hundreds of millions of dollars, from Biden to Kamala, if they can't figure a way to transfer that war chest to these other candidates, it's a non-starter. It doesn't matter who it is, because the only reason that Michelle Obama is polling so favorably is because she's a non-entity. Like she doesn't have a track record. We don't know much about her. She doesn't have as much baggage as these other people. But I think that
regular America loves the old first lady.
Yeah, well, that's true too. But I think that in the 90 days that she's actually now entering into politics, it would be absolutely vicious, and there would be a lot of hit pieces that come out. She would be held to account for every bad thing that happened to the Obama administration.
But she has plausible deniability because she's the first lady. She wasn't the president. She wasn't Obama, and the media loves Obama. And there would be a honeymoon phase where they would just adore her. And a lot of the Democrats that are screaming, "Please replace him! Please replace him! Please replace him!" are going to be so happy that she's in that they're going to be doing extra favors for her. And they're gonna. Vivek says it's going to be the honeymoon period for the next candidate that they're going to adore and gush over for the next 4 months until the election.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say one last thing. So when Hillary Clinton ran, they had all these skeletons in the closet because she had been Secretary of State for a while. Plus, she had killed a bunch of people with the whole Clinton body count.
Allegedly.
In a video game.
Wait, I thought that was known fact. So I thought I heard it from Norm Macdonald on The View. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, that Norm Macdonald clip was pretty legit from I think it was the 1990s, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was on with Barbara Walters.
But see
or the early 2000s.
The reason she had a track record is all I'm saying.
The reason it's a double-edged sword, though, is that the only reason anyone perceives Michelle Obama to be qualified to be the president of the United States is because she was the first lady, because she was the wife of the president of the United States. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, the only reason you're qualified is because you were, you're related to the president, but also you're not going to be held to account for any of his legacy. It's like, I think that it would be very vicious. I'm not talking about the corporate media. Corporate media, you're right. They're going to just totally paper over everything negative, and they're going to try and portray her to be as good as possible. But I'm just talking about the independent media, conservative media, if there is any. I think that's where you'll see the claws come out.
But the polling is pretty clear. She's the only one that could run against Donald Trump and win. And this is even according to The Hill, and this is according to all the latest numbers that have been revealed.
But that's now, though. We don't know what they have up their sleeve for October. Like, anything's possible. I think that people should. I understand feeling comfortable and confident if you're a Trump supporter right now, but I would caution you against that. It's not like it's looking like a landslide. Yes, he's up in all of the swing states, which obviously portends very good things for him. But we're still 4 months out. Like, anything can happen.
If it is Kamala Harris, I believe he can totally beat Kamala Harris. If it's Michelle Obama, I feel like that's where there will be a fight.
Yeah. And not only a fight,
that's what most people think.
But the polls highlight how she's going to win against him. Newsom loses. Kamala loses. Gavin loses. Whitmore loses. Michelle is the only one, according to these poll numbers, if you believe them, that she wins.
And she doubled down once again today, saying, it's not in my heart, it's not in my soul, I'm not going to do it. So she's been very consistent with that. That doesn't mean that she's not lying. That doesn't mean that it's not gamesmanship and that they want to have this announcement 90 days out so that they can have still that honeymoon phase that they're enjoying. But if she's telling the truth, then it's going to be Kamala.
Okay, there's something I'm just not understanding here. How 4 months you're saying until all of this?
Well, it's November. It's
November,
the first week
yeah.
of November.
How is it that only 4 months and there's not like clear rules on how this is supposed to go? And also, how come like the VP Harris is even having a chance of somebody else like stepping in? How is that even possible? Isn't she like there because she's supposed to step in if the president is not able to?
But that's only for if he steps down. Like if he were to step down today, she would become the president of the United States. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about who's going to actually win the election in November, because you can't just hand that off to the VP. I mean, I guess you could. He could run, he could win, and then he could step down right after. But the theory is that he's so weak, he has to step down now if the Democrats have any chance of maintaining
Which means
control.
she would then.
Technically, a vice president could run against the president. I believe it's happened in the past. It's just oftentimes frowned upon.
Yeah.
I'm just so surprised that like 4 months in and there's all of this confusion and all of this like mystery of what's going to happen. And even that Trump hasn't announced who his VP is. Like, wouldn't there be like for the most important position to have of a whole country, wouldn't there be like rules and regulations like way before that make it so
but
that
now that you just learned that there's a speculative gambling market on it, doesn't it make sense a little more now?
Well, I mean, in 2022, the DNC actually changed their rules that made it so that they could do this, that if either of the candidates drop out, essentially the DNC gets to handpick the candidate. So the fact that they changed the rules in 2022 tells me that they knew that this was a distinct possibility. That opens up the entire Pandora box as to, has this been the plan for a long time? I still tend to think otherwise, just simply because Biden clearly wants to stay the president. His wife does too. His son wants him to. So it tells me that even if that is the plan, they're certainly not read in. So things are like there's genuine conflict happening here, in my opinion.
So in order for him to be replaced, he has to step down.
Yes.
Unless Kamala wants to do something that's unprecedented, or
And
someone
run
else
against him.
someone else in the party has to like break the party.
Unless Kamala gives them, a nice drink of tea that might be spiked with something, or the CIA brings out the heart attack, or they do the 25th Amendment,
Yeah.
which is also a possibility.
The only thing that they could
I
really
think he's
do
more likely to die.
is
too much of a risk.
Open up the primary, allow for the delegates to go against him. But everybody that I've read that I trust says there's no chance that the delegates go against him if he doesn't stand down. So it's I think it's going to be a pressure campaign for the next 4 weeks to try and get him to stand down. I think he probably will at the end of the day, because they have a lot of pressure that they can bring to bear. And then I think it's going to be Kamala, because that's the only way the war chest transfers. I just think that's the most logical explanation of how this plays out.
And the craziest explanation is that they keep going with Joe Biden, which still could happen.
Yeah.
And they could still try to do it in a way, finagle it, and secure it in a way where he might potentially even come out on top. Imagine that. Imagine that kind of surprise.
What do
that
you
would
think
happen.
are the chances that it's still going to be Joe Biden? Like 50%,
It'd have to be
20%,
rigged. Like,
80%?
According,
what do you think?
According to the betting markets, it's less than 50%, because they're saying he was 23 cents or whatever it was.
can we look
Yeah.
at historical bets? Who did they say would win the election?
I think it
I mean, I know
think
it
it was
switched
Biden.
at the last minute, but did it ever have Trump ahead?
probably, but not by this magnitude.
Okay.
Yeah, the poll numbers definitely shifted. But there are still some people supporting the current president of the United States, including, of course, the science man himself, Dr. Fauci.
Bill Nye the
And,
Science
of course, Harry Sisson as well, that are standing behind Old Yeller. Now, I thought Dr. Fauci's comments were pretty interesting here, as he's trying to blame Biden's poor performance on cold medicine. Yep, you heard that correctly. He's doubling down. If you think this guy couldn't shill any more than he could, yes, he can. Here's the video.
It just looked like a bad night, because my interaction with him was what I describe in the book. And what happened even subsequent to what I described in the book after I got out. He's very probing in his questions, very analytical, very calm about things. When you go in to brief him, Major, you better really know your topic, because he's going to ask you very relevant questions. And he's very reflective on things, and just doesn't jump out with conclusions or anything, but is very analytic. So my interactions with him, I have to say, have been very, very positive.
Did you see the debate?
I did.
That's a great question. Like, are you seeing what we saw? Are you blind? Are you deaf?
I'm sure he's a great guy, but did you see the same thing we saw?
Very reflective and analytical. He can't form a sentence.
That's why he's reflecting half the time. That's what's going on.
The video actually continues on further. Great question by the journalist, actually.
Anything about that, what you saw, medically alarm you?
You know, I can't say. I think it would be inappropriate to say that, Major, because when you're just looking at someone on a one-shot basis, you just don't know what could happen. Did he have a bad cold? You know, did he take an antihistamine to make him, groggy or what have you? We don't know what went on. And I think it would be unfair and inappropriate to try and diagnose something from just a 90-minute clip.
Yeah, Dr. Mengele giving us more sound medical and science
Benadryl
advice.
is a hell of a drug.
I think he took some Adderall.
I think he took a whole bunch of stuff and it didn't work. Or there was a sabotage, kind of event, and they gave him the downers instead of the uppers. That could also be kind of happening here with just how cruel people are behind the scenes and how much power hungry they really are. Again, I explained
what
the
about
presidency.
The hidden third option where he just hides the pills under his tongue and spits them out and is like, I'm fine. I'm fine. He's just like
I highly doubt that would happen. But the position of power is addicting to a lot of people, and that's why I describe the presidency as kind of the ring of Sauron. And there's a lot of schmeagles out there that want that ring, and they'll do a lot of dastardly things in order to get it, as well as money. Just like Harry Sisson, which I think is a perfect representation of what I was just describing, that also came out in favor of the current president of the United States and still telling people that they should be voting for him, which is pretty incredulous.
People have to understand that the choice in 2024 is between dictatorship and democracy. Donald Trump already tried to illegally overturn the election in 2020. You know, the kind of stuff we see in authoritarian nations. He said he wants retribution. He wants to jail his political opponents, jail journalists. He recently called for military tribunals that are televised for Liz Cheney because she stood up to him. And yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled that a president has absolute immunity, so Trump could do all of that stuff and get away with it without being criminally charged. So who do we trust? Donald Trump, who said he wants to be a dictator on day one, or President Biden, who's invested in infrastructure, invested in fighting climate change, and wants to lower healthcare costs? That's the choice.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more. He's a shill for the Democratic political party.
Like, do people know? Like, this is the first time I've ever heard of this guy.
He
Like,
looks
do people
young.
actually pay attention? Like, is this what
Not
Zoomers
really.
are doing?
Now we are, because he's saying some absurd stuff that absolutely is Orwellian and completely backwards from reality.
I agree, but it's
He's
like
just a young Krasenstein brother.
it's like
It sounds like he's just repeating talking points from his parents.
whatever. I don't like the cut of his jib. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you would think so.
He's like Twink Schmiegel.
Why am I doing an image of that?
The cut of his jib is off, and it annoyed me. So I had a hard time even listening to what he was saying because all I heard was like me.
I genuinely think that
Even if I agreed with him,
I
I
think
wouldn't
he's a
know.
conservative. I think the Krasensteins are conservatives. I don't think they believe anything they say, or on the off chance that they are actually sincere, they're the dumbest people on the planet.
Yeah, and I wonder if they create their own talking points or if they're just kind of given them.
I think
Because
they're ahead of
everything that he mentioned, I mean, if you look at people going after journalists, the first thing that comes to my mind is Barack Obama, that prosecuted more journalists under the Espionage Act than all the other presidents combined before him. And that's a person that wasn't nice to whistleblowers, wasn't nice to, of course, actual investigative journalists.
Can we get this guy on the show?
Harry Session? Let's do it.
No, the guy, whoever that mook was. Can we get him on?
The little boy?
The mook.
I don't know. He's old enough to be on the internet yelling at people.
Let's get him in here. Absolutely. He's more than welcome. Krasenstein's more than welcome. Might happen soon.
Dude, I want the Krasensteins in here so bad. I'm gonna debate them, and I'm gonna prove definitively that they are deep down they are conservatives. I believe it. I believe it in my heart that they are.
That's okay. Now I got them confused with a different family. The one with the Olympic runner. Different
Definitely
family.
not them.
Okay.
They're two twin brothers that appear to have a love affair with one another.
And that's no more weird than the other people.
I'm just kidding.
like,
Now I have to
Ryan,
go
I'm
follow
kidding.
No,
I'm
them.
kidding.
the Island Boys. It's
They're
them. He's one of the Island Boys.
They're the less degenerate
they got
Island
cleaned
Boys.
up.
Yeah, they live close to each other. in
I think
Florida.
they're the same height and weight, all of them together. So maybe we could get
All
the
right, I don't
Island
know if I'm
Boys
bullying a
and the
child or whatever.
Krasensteins here at the same time.
No, the
That-
Krasensteins are like 40.
And I think the Island Boys are like Donald Trump supporters now. So that would be an interesting debate that would be absolutely awful for everyone to hear.
along with Amber Rose. It's so weird. You have the conservatives that like will have a total hissy fit because of some calendar shoot that they think is a little untoward. But then the Amber Rose comes out and she's like, "Yeah, I'm back in Trump," and they're all sharing it and they're all so pumped.
And
it's
I
just
think
like,
she posted a coochie bikini pic
Yeah.
today with her and a red MAGA flag.
Yeah.
Can we
And
find it?
everyone's
Yes.
like,
Pull that
I want
up.
to see that.
So let's talk
Well,
about
find
who are
it,
some
send it to me.
good third-party
So she has the
candidates.
slut walk. Maybe she'll have the
who-
Trump
who-
walk.
let's talk about third-party candidates. Is anyone running? Luke,
is there?
You running?
This is Clint's wheelhouse.
I mean,
Clint, you running?
yeah, but I did, but
He
I
did
didn't-
run.
I didn't
Oh,
win
wow,
it,
no
so,
shit.
no, there is no third-party candidates this year. Sorry to break it to everybody.
What about the
Can I
Kennedy?
nominate you?
Oh, Kennedy, yeah, RFK. you
Yeah,
can
we just
consider
keep
him.
forgetting
But,
about that.
I'm not here half the time. I'm mostly in Israel.
I thought he was
So is the real
specifically trying to get me to talk about the Libertarian Party, and I am not going to help that guy at all. Sorry.
Arch nemesis.
Well, we also got breaking news today that allegedly Donald Trump has picked his VP pick, and according to document filings, it is Michael Flynn. As of course, Donald Trump J just listed General Michael Flynn as his vice president, according to the latest FEC filings. Now, is this an accident? Is this a coincidence? Well, in the short and sweet of it, Michael Flynn is responding saying, no, this is fake news. This is not true. He doesn't know what's actually going on here. And again, if I'm Donald Trump, I would wait until I see what's happening with the Democratic political party before announcing a VP candidate. But he's going to have to do it.
Yeah, there would be no physical filing before it's announced. They're gonna make the announcement the same day that they file.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
For
they're
sure.
going to do it in a way where it's going to bring a lot of media attention.
Exactly.
It's,
This is
it's
just
going
to
to be
trick
a
the
big
people.
show, and there's going to be a big introduction as a way to get all the news headlines
the
and get all
source
the
of
talking
this?
points out there. So these are the FEC filings that were reported to. But I'll be honest, if it's Michael Flynn, it's not the worst pick. There's a lot of other worst picks out there. There's Rubio. I don't think that's a good pick.
Haley.
There's Bergrum, who's besties with Bill Gates. I don't think that's a good one.
He also said just yesterday that we're already in war with Russia.
Bergrum?
Bergrum said that.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do
Yeah,
with that guy.
Bergrum is kind of a neocon. But people are saying Vivek. People are saying Tulsi. I'm saying Tucker Carlson. That would be my favorite. But that's a long shot. That probably won't happen. And
Ronald Reagan became president, man. He made that movie with like a monkey. Like he was just like a cowboy actor.
yeah.
Donald Trump was a reality TV star.
Yes, yeah,
Vladimir
exactly.
Vladimir Zelensky was a stand-up comic. He
Yeah,
played
so
the piano
Tucker
with his
Carlson
wang.
being a VP would
Was he?
not
Yeah.
be untoward, or like that would not be unheard of.
Yeah, there's a famous video. We could probably play it on Rumble. I already said the word, darn it. Of Zelensky using his hog to play the piano butt naked.
Oh,
So
I want to see that.
we'll pull it up.
Okay.
We'll pull it up for
It
there.
was, like,
But
it was like Ukraine's Got Talent, and he was on there doing it. It's so crazy, man.
But-
We're living in a reality TV show. I swear.
But Ashira, I wanted to kind of ask you, who would you like to see as the VP pick for Donald Trump?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. Okay, for my people in Israel, I say Nikki Haley, but I know my American people hate Nikki Haley. So
We hate Nikki Haley.
Why do we hate her? Why do we hate her?
because she's a war hawk, and
Oh,
they say,
ew.
and she's all for sending dollars overseas.
Ew,
et
to
cetera.
where? Not to Israel.
Well, no, to Israel.
Ew, that's the worst place.
What? You're so
Well, I don't know.
anti-Semitic.
Well, I'm asking. Well,
We'll start that debate
Maybe.
in about 12 minutes.
Stay
We'll get into that
tuned.
debate in 12
Stay
minutes.
tuned.
But Nikki, I think, wouldn't be that good for Donald Trump, because if it is Nikki, I think if Trump becomes president, they'll just take Trump out and put Nikki in there.
Yeah.
She has the support of the military-industrial complex, which would want to see her in that power. So I think if Trump is smart, for me personally, he has to pick an anti-establishment person that's going to safeguard from from him being taken out. And you put in someone that's more of a radical than he is to make the establishment afraid of taking him out. That's my perspective.
So who would that be? You think that's Michael Flynn?
Potentially Michael Flynn, but Vivek is one, and then Tulsi Gabbard is another one.
Vivek is
not
my
Tulsi.
favorite, but I got to say, if he wants to win the election, I think Tulsi Gabbard is probably his smartest play.
Yeah, especially if they choose a woman to run against him, he's going to have to counter that energy, and Tulsi, I think, would be the perfect counter because
Flynn's a military man.
People forget this, but Tulsi ran for the president of the United States as a Democrat just 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Like if she's then the VP under the GOP ticket,
Wow.
that'd be wild. That's a wild
That
shift.
would be wild.
And she would represent the kind of anti-establishment populist movement. But she did endorse Joe Biden over Bernie Sanders because allegedly Bernie Sanders was mean to her.
Right.
So there's that.
Well,
He's
that's
a
how you can
communist.
get an endorsement.
Yeah.
She's done an incredible job of reimagining her public persona. That no one talks about the fact that she was a Democrat just 8 years ago, running for the presidency. I mean, it's amazing that now she's openly discussed very favorably by Trump supporters.
We get that. We're not going to pull up the Amber Rose photo. I think it's not PG-13. Again, YouTube PG-13, family-friendly show here. We don't curse, right, Steph?
That's right.
Yes. We don't use
Oh, is
potty
this just
language.
half the photo?
I just realized that Steph's like Ron Burgundy. Whatever's on the
Yes,
the
she will
super chat,
read.
She just
She will
reads
read.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, be careful.
Don't tell our super chatters
Go
that.
F yourself,
But
San Diego.
I was just thinking about what you were saying, Clint, and that woman, the Tulsi lady. Like, if she really was running as a Democrat and now she does be the VP ticket for Trump, I think that would be really cool to get the Democratic votes. Because some people be like, "Oh, look, she used to be like me, but now she thought differently."
I think
There's a lot of people
That's
made
true.
that switch.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that she brings the most total voters to Donald Trump. The issue is she trustworthy? Can he actually trust her? Because there's going to be a lot of desire to replace Donald Trump through impeachment or other means in the first days of his presidency. Do you want someone who wants to replace you? Because I don't know. I don't know if she does or not.
I don't think he'll be able to trust whoever he picks because it's Washington.
Well, that's also true. But like Nikki Haley, for instance, couldn't
sure.
trust at all.
Yeah.
But then with Vivek, maybe. With Tulsi, maybe. He's in a tough spot, man. I don't envy the guy.
Yeah, it's not an easy situation because you don't even know who you're running up against.
Right.
It's probably not going to be Biden. Who is it going to be? I mean, time will only tell.
could
But if
trust
I'm the
Tucker.
Democrats, again, I'm waiting.
He can
So,
trust
Yeah.
Tucker.
so we're not going to find out who's going to replace Biden up until the RNC. After the RNC, expect that kind of news to break. But I see Biden holding strong until then. And then truly, Trump is put in a very difficult situation where he needs to put someone up front based on a guesstimation.
I gotta say real quick, if a lot of people were saying today that if it's Kamala, she's looking very favorably at Buttigieg as her VP. That if I was Trump, I move on Vivek because Vivek versus Buttigieg, it's a demolition.
Yeah, and Tulsi as well. Tulsi had her moments.
very good, yeah.
Tulsi is known as the Kamala. We can't say it on
The
YouTube.
Kamala Harris destroyer,
Yeah,
but Vivek is the Nikki Haley destroyer.
Exactly, because they had those moments at the presidential debates, and there was a very big prominent moment between Tulsi Gabbard and Kamala Harris at the last kind of presidential debates
legendary.
between them.
Yeah.
And Tulsi Gabbard just gave a whooping to Kamala Harris. And what better person to counter Kamala Harris than Tulsi Gabbard? And of course, she has the military record. She has the woman, person of color thing as well that people are going to be, sadly playing up more than the credentials. But she also has the credentials. She has the record. She has someone that represents populist voices. She has, the interviews with Joe Rogan. She has the ability to reach across the aisle and say, hey, the Democrats that I used to be cool with, this is our time to actually get some of these issues and concerns out there to the general public. And Donald Trump, again, he's not a very strong right-wing guy. He's willing to compromise on a lot of different stuff. A lot of people, call him a dictator and a fascist, but in reality, he's willing to say, yeah, we'll give out $2,000 checks. Yeah, we'll do prison reform. Yeah, bring in Kim Kardashian. We'll get some rappers out of here, out of this jail.
We put together a $4 trillion bill. It was beautiful. No one thought it could have ever been bigger than that, but then we did it. It was just beautiful. Look, I agree with you, Luke. I think that Tulsi and Trump, politically, they actually align very well with one another in that I don't really know what their political beliefs are, but they seem to be, mirroring each other.
But listen, if the Donald Trump inner circle is listening, and we know that we have reached to some of these individuals, it's probably going to be Kamala or probably Michelle. You need another woman to counter that. Women are deciding this election, especially in swing states. And, sadly, overwhelmingly, the woman vote in this country goes to Democrats. Now, Donald Trump could intervene, and I think Tulsi is the clear kind of candidate here. As of course, there's also Carrie Lake, but she's more on the right wing. Yeah. But if you want to take away votes from a Michelle Obama, there's no one else that could politically do it than someone else who's kind of a centrist, who's kind of a populist, who is more of a realist. And again, just like we saw with the pro-life kind of debate, Donald Trump is willing to go to the middle. And what better way to counter Michelle Obama, who's this kind of unknown major political force that everyone and the normies will be going to, by reaching out to as many moderates as possible. And we always see this during the political cycles, especially at the start of the political cycle. You see candidates on the kind of far left and the far right, but the closer we get to the election, the more in the middle they actually move to when it comes to their policies and their initiatives. Right. And I see that happening here very clearly, especially with what Donald Trump had to say about his views on being pro-life at the presidential debate.
Exactly, saying we're going to leave it to the states. I don't think that Carrie Lake brings hardly any additional voters, because anybody that's voting for Trump already kind of likes Carrie Lake, and anybody that hates Trump also hates Carrie Lake. It's like you don't have a ton of overlap, whereas Tulsi can absorb some of those moderate Democrats. I really do think that she's the most viable play if you're going to look at this purely
These are all
tactically.
Awful candidates. Like when you think about it, just like I don't like any of them.
These are the choices we have.
It's like these are the choices we have.
What's going on with the Libertarian Party?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can they get Ron Paul? Like, where's Ron Paul? Like, what's he up to?
He's more spry than Joe Biden.
He's on Liberty Lockdown tomorrow.
Okay, so tell him.
Tell him to run.
Yeah, tell him to be vice president. Tell him hey, Trump's looking for a Veep.
But
you want to be the Veep?
Yeah.
Well, no, he wouldn't.
Start somewhere.
He wouldn't do well. He wouldn't do well with Michigan and Wisconsin with the woman vote there.
Oh, but I would.
You gerrymander them
be
out.
so happy.
Like they do election fraud every year. You just target that demographic in those states.
Allegedly, in a video game. We're still on YouTube.
Yeah, allegedly.
This is what I read about in the 1800s.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. As of course, YouTube is very censorious. They are not very nice to us, and they literally have an algorithm that picks up every word we say, and if we say the bad words, they stifle our reach out to the general public out there. And this is why, again, sharing this video is very important, and YouTube has really been doing a lot of underhanded things to this YouTube channel. And I've been around for a while, and it's getting serious. It got serious 4 years ago, and the censorship efforts ramp up tremendously during election cycles. And as we saw from Google's reaction to President Trump's first presidential victory, that they're definitely not too thrilled about the current situation right now, and that they're also in full panic mode. So again, subscribing, clicking the notification button really does mean a lot to us. We can't thank you guys enough for being a part of this independent media organization, as we are going to be transitioning over to a free speech platform right now. As the conversation, of course, will be continuing there, as we are now on the front page of that particular platform. So again, go to the platform, and we are right here, and the conversation is going to get probably a little bit more interesting and a little bit more spicier, as we got Ukraine to talk about, Israel, Lebanon, Nikki Haley. We got to talk about Nikki Haley now. It's going to be a fascinating conversation. Before we go there, Ashira, where can people find out more information about you as we leave this kind of technocratic, censorious platform and go towards a free speech one?
Oh, bye, YouTube. Okay, you can follow me on Instagram at Real Ashira Solomon, X at Ashira_Solomon.
Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me on X at Alex Hyde, ALEXHEID, and hackmiami.com.
My name is Clint Russell, and I'm the host of Liberty Lockdown, and I got Ron Paul on the show tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do it on YouTube or the other platform that we're about to transfer over to. I would highly recommend you do. It's going to be an incredible conversation. It is a bucket list item for me. I'm going to try not to cry during the interview. I make no promises. I might cry. We'll see.
He'll cry.
At Liberty Lockpod on X. If you want to support my work, subscribe there. I'll follow you back. And that's it. Tower Gang.
He cries all the time. It's okay. He's in touch with his feelings.
I'm a very sensitive man.
This is Steph We Are Change. You can find me on X at StephWRC or on Instagram at Steph We Are Change.
Read the super chat. We got a super chat.
We got some super chats.
Right here on the right in the YouTube.
got one.
Just read the YouTube ones.
We got one from Hotterodo224 saying, thanks, love the show, and you guys are awesome. Today is my wife's birthday. Happy birthday, Danny.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Danny.
Happy
birthday.
Appreciate you. I think we already have a caller for a LukeUnfiltered.com member.
Your shirt genuinely disturbs me. I just wanted
It
to say that.
should. It should. It's a beautiful shirt that you could exclusively get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com and raise your support for Joe Biden, who I'm unironically rooting for right now. Riding with Biden. And show your support through getting a t-shirt like this. You support our network as well by doing that. And it's a very classy shirt. You could wear it to a lot of professional different settings, and you could be the trendsetter. You could be the conversation starter. And again, tomorrow, the first 5 comments get free tickets to the Bitcoin conference. Big giveaway. I think it's like nearly like $3,000 we're giving away worth of tickets just for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. So if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for?